What's going on, Star Wars Unlimited fans? It's Gudo here from 2 to Base. I'm back with another quick video. We had a weekend of exciting tournaments going down with the Cantina Clash Premiere. The shout out to McClunky Gaming for putting that event on here in America. Really cool to see these sort of like rogue events, kind of like Beatle. I know that event had their own 3v3 event as well, and then they also had a premiere event, so we won't talk as much about the 3v3 as we will about the just the premiere. But overall, I mean, even with the team event, we still get a glimpse of like what everyone's feeling as far as like decks that are viable. I was really excited to see a lot of the lawless time leaders being played, as opposed to sort of like all just JTL. But there were some jump to light speed leaders, you know, Luke, Bubba were present, but definitely really cool to see these little side events going on. But first of all, before we get started, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this video. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content. I'm trying to be more active, and if you want to chat with the 2 to Base team and sort of what decks we've been building, feel free to join our Discord. Our link is in the description. Yeah, so today's video we'll look at the premiere event at the Cantina Clash. We'll look at some of the decks, trends. I'll share some of my thoughts of what I watched. I watched pretty much most of the event through the weekend. You know, with kids it's kind of hard to balance, but yeah, I definitely tried to get some time in to watch the new meta, so to speak. I know it's just one event, but we did have there were other events as well that kind of went down. There was a Winnabox event, a store showdown over in Spain. So there was a couple, you know, small attending events that are very sample sized data glimpses of the meta, but nonetheless, still pretty cool to see. So when we start getting like the Nexus Invitational data and the Cantina Clash data, you know, both of those events had high tier players. You know, maybe they're small, but the quality of players in those small events was pretty significant. So I think that there's some data that's worthy of talking about when we talk about what's the meta look like. I know a lot of people revert to saying, hey, you know, we need big numbers, more players equals more accurate data. I still think it's worth talking about, and it's fun to talk about. So let me pivot my screen. Hold on. Let's look over here. We'll start with SWU Competitive Hub. I've got SWU Base pulled up too, so we can look at that stuff, but I want to look at the big picture stuff here. So let's start with just, yeah, the Cantina Clash Premiere. So looking in, there was, and this is just top 8, but we can use SWU Base to look deeper, but Lando. So Lando was played in mostly blue. I do believe there were 2 Data Vault versions or 2 green versions. One might have been Data Vault, one might have been 30. That sort of made it into the top ends of the event. Not top 8 quite yet, but blue seems to be the favorite color, and even one, you know, getting second place with Colossus, pretty interesting. Looking at the list, you know, I'm not going to go through deck lists right now, but just snapshot of the meta. We kind of knew Lando with resource cheating would be relevant. Anytime resource cheating has been paired with a leader ability, it has sort of made a significant impact in the meta, or been a popular asset. You know, both of the Hans are a really good example, and this is no different. Maybe it's not resource cheating, but you're getting those credit tokens to be able to use as resources. So definitely worth looking at. Chewie is something that I had a feeling would pop up in these events. I just feel like he's gonna sort of replace the Sabines of the meta, if you will. He's gonna likely be that go-to aggro deck. And I think seeing him in third really honestly isn't a surprise. We knew Vader yellow would be a force to be reckoned with to a degree. Like, he's worth ensuring you have an answer for, because if you don't, then you can quickly lose the game. Seeing Thrawn Red here is actually pretty cool. He's with the splash base here. I never got to see what card was being splashed in that deck. You know what? While we're here, I'm curious to see what it was. Do we get deck image? It's much easier to see it that way. Yep. Okay, so Legacy Run. Yeah, that does not surprise me whatsoever. In fact, that's how good that card is you use a splash base and you lose 3 health to play Legacy Run. It's totally worth it. You only really need to play it once, and if they somehow bounce it or get rid of it on the turn you play it, when, you know, maybe you don't want it to die that turn and you end up whiffing the Legacy Run play, you know, I think it's still worth the 3 health. So pretty good call by that guy. Yep, so moving on, Emphas Nest. So this one was really interesting to see. I guess we can pull up the deck list while we talk about it, whatever. I'm not going to go through every single card, but yeah, interesting. I don't think a lot of people had Emphas Nest on their hit list when it comes to like the first couple of really big tournaments. You know, I don't think these are big tournaments, but impactful tournaments is the word I'll use. Really cool to see Emphas Nest on here, and ooh, there is some spice in here. So really cool to see Emphas Nest in the top 8. And then Aura, we know Aura is kind of like that control deck of sort of this meta. Looks like it's a hard control variant where it's going heavy on the events and then playing whatever bombs the game has to offer in those colors anymore, which is not a whole lot. You're kind of banking on, you know, controlling, playing these bombs and hoping they stick. I think not having aggressive negotiations in here is a big mistake, but I guess there's not really a lot of ways to draw a bunch of cards in here, so maybe it's not that good. But you know, what's your finisher these days in these colors? Yeah, sure, you can remove remove all the units, and you can kind of like cheese your way through some rounds and some games, but it ended up getting 7th. It didn't look that oppressive on stream. Like anytime obviously he got top 8, so he did well. It was only 6 rounds of Swiss, so you know, I just don't think there was enough gas in the tank with that deck to go the long way. And I think these decks that just pump out better top end like Lando and putting out the Liberty and Bo-Katan are much more to be reckoned with. And then of course Towson. I'm actually surprised that Towson appeared this low on the top 8. But I guess, I don't know, maybe these lawless time leaders are just, they're too strong for Mother Towson there. Yeah, so that was the top 8 of the premier event for the Cantina Clash. Let's look at Swoo Base. So let's look at some of the meaty stuff. So Lando made up about 24% of that meta that day. It looks like mostly, like I said, mostly blue with 2 green. How do I see all decks? Yeah, I gotta figure out how to navigate this. Yeah, so there's a Lando green. So there were a couple Lando greens, but nothing stood out in that aspect because it didn't really get top 8, didn't really convert very well. There was other surprising leaders like Vel, who thought, you know, a lot of people were like, there's no way this can be meta, giving your opponent ramp is just not good. However, units like Arvel Skeen, I think is his name, when you play it, you get rid of a credit token. When you swing, you get rid of a credit token. I thought this leader, during my practice for sealed, going into the start of the post-rotation meta, I thought Vel was pretty good in sealed, and I told myself, if they, you know, print enough credit hate, this could be good in constructed too. Lo and behold, you know, playing this in red is just a really good aggro strategy. Going wide and also a little bit tall with giving those XP tokens has been really good. Not gonna lie, I brought this to locals recently and did pretty well with it. I think I actually went 3-0. the quick small locals, but you know, it felt so strong. So it's pretty cool. It's cool to see her not only, and I think John Tata from KTOD actually ended up playing her in the 3v3 event. I don't know if he played it in the solos event, but she didn't convert in the top 8 in the solos. But I mean, the deck is good. The deck is good. And I think it has like a 50-50 chance against this Lando Blue. I've had a couple games where I've just gotten stomped. I've had games where I've obliterated that deck, and you would think there's no way that Lando could beat this deck. It's just about how the game sort of pans out, and sometimes it's about the draws. But yeah, pretty cool. What else we got? We got some, like I said, new Chewy. There were 2. Darth Vader's, JTL Vaders, there were a few of those, and then you have like just like a mirage of solos. Jin appeared. We thought Jin would appear a lot more, but and like a lot of people went into this event or these like first couple events thinking that aggressive negotiations decks were going to be the problem of the, you know, of the meta, but we, you know, there's a few that run the card obviously in this, in the, you know, in the top 8 and in the meta right now, but it didn't feel, watching it on stream, it didn't feel like it was needed to be banned. You know, I think a lot of people went into these events thinking like, oh, it's for sure that you know, this card's gonna need to get banned, it's just meta defying, yada yada. It didn't really seem, I mean, look, the winning deck of the event didn't play the card, so maybe we were over-tuning that card a little bit. It's still very good and still does what it's supposed to do when you need it. Like, when you need it and you use it, you win the game. Most of the time. So, it's still there, floating, that the idea of the card is very strong, but overall, I think we'll get to a place where we're no longer calling it bannable, but just really strong. You know, it's something you have to prepare for. It's really strong, and that's really where we're at with that right now. Yeah, I'm interested to see where things kind of go. Let's dive into the matchups. So in the sort of the top end of the brackets of the solos event, was this day 1? No, it says day 1 here, but yeah, this was the solos event. And yep, so we see the final was a Lando Blue mirror match with Tyler from McClunky Gaming. So shout out to him for taking down the event. Vader got there in semifinals as well as the Chewy Yellow, but they just could not get past the Lando Blue. And then over in the early part of the quarterfinals, it looks like the Emphasis just barely got by the Vader Yellow. I can see that being a close one. I think Emphasis plays enough spaceships to where, you know, maybe she can hold her own, but and then the Aura didn't make it past the quarterfinals with that hard control strategy. So I think the new control is in that Lando Blue. You know, it's not a hard control list at all. It's plays some removal cards, but overall I think it's just winning with cheating out some really crazy stuff early and using that as its advantage. There's really nothing else to it. And then you have access to blue, which takes care of the pilot leader jumping onto a 3-cost ship with tree remembers and all that jazz. So really cool. I love that it's a mostly lawless time leaders in these first few events with the premiere format. Really cool to see it. Really cool to see it. But yeah, let me give it back here. Yeah, guys, I mean, this is really exciting stuff. I didn't want to make this too long. I really just wanted to put this out there to see what you guys think as well. On the 2-to-base side, we're going to be practicing for the limited PQ here in Florida. We got people practicing for sectors on the Premier side, so we're definitely brewing Premier decks. Post-rotation, we're in the grind tanks. And we're trying to get out to locals as much as we can to really test this stuff in person. But yeah, I'm excited to see where the meta goes after these first few events. You got to get ready for the Landos. You want to be ready for Vader and the pilot. and then this new chewy, you know, aggro deck. How can you stop that strategy from taking you down? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for watching this video today. And I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.